Oh, hello.
Hey Jeff,
How are you?
I'm doing good. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Jeff. Jeff, your eighth studio album, Complicated, is to be out on May 6th. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind this new album?
Well, the songwriting and production and songwriting were pretty much done the way I've always been doing things, even since the '90s. I kind of I kind of was preparing myself for a world disaster or a lockdown, a quarantine, whatever, because I've been recording under these circumstances for a long time, even before home studios were a regular thing.
Yeah.
The songwriting was done by, as far as the music was done by Alessandro, my producer.
Mhm.
He wrote all the music, and he collaborates with other people in writing the music as well. But he did all the music for me. He sends the music with no, just kind of like a foundation of the songs, and then I get to work with the lyrics and the melodies. And I do all my tracking here in my home studio. I send him my vocal files, and he finishes the rest with all the others. You know, the drums and the lead guitars, etc. So yeah, it's a process I've been doing even since the days of Talisman, because clearly the budgets are not what they used to be back in the '80s and even the early '90s, when the budgets could afford you to be in to live in a studio for a month. The budgets used to be able to afford you hotels and airplane flights, international, all that stuff. This is where all those expenses went to making records. But now those budgets are long gone, so we have to find new ways and use technology to continue working with a quality level, but not being able to be together all the time.
Gotcha, gotcha. And was there any particular concept that was put behind this album?
Not necessarily. I don't really do concept albums. I can do songs that are aimed at certain themes. Like, for instance, the last album, Wide Awake in My Dreamland,
Yeah.
that a lot of the lyrics, strangely enough, they were very accurate towards what we were going through during the lockdowns. There were a lot of things. Again, the titles, it sound in itself sounds like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is real. That I must be asleep, but yet I'm wide awake. So it's strange how that actually tied into the whole lockdown. But the new album, I actually call the album Complicated, because I was doing interviews for the last album, Duets album, and the journalist at the end of the interview, he asked me a question saying, if I had to describe Jeff Scott Soto to somebody who's never heard of his voice, his music, doesn't know anything about Jeff Scott Soto, what would be the best way to describe him? And I said, well, it's complicated because I I'm not just standard artist in terms of, I don't just do one particular style of music. I have so many different genres and so many different things that I want to do musically. So I don't really fit in any one category. So of course it gets complicated, and that's, I thought the idea that when I said that, it's like something resonated. It made me want to use that word or that term somewhere on the next album. And those little mistakes and those little kind of accidental things that come in life, that those are the kind of things I hang on. I didn't mean to say that, but it sounds kind of cool. I'm going to remember that for future use, and that's what I did with the word complicated. It seemed to be so fitting to my career, but then again, it also fits to what's going on in the world. It's another extension of something that was meant to be something else, and it actually turns out to actually fit what we're all going through, a very complicated time between lockdowns and religion and politics. There's so many different things going on in life that make life very complicated. So again, it's one of those double entendre things that seem to work.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jeff. And talking about this album, Complicated, 11 amazing songs crafted together, beautifully done, great vocals again from you, and amazing musicianship that was put behind this album. So, how do you feel about the outcome of this album?
I absolutely love it. On the last album, or the first album I did with Alessandro, which was Wide Awake in My Dreamland, he wanted to dive into the songwriting aspect of it. Basically, he said, Jeff, I want to take the best things I love about your career, about the things that you've released, the things that you've done, and I want to extend on that. I want to base first. I want to capitalize on it, but then I want to extend on it. Not plagiarism, not stealing things that were already done, but just kind of taking the idea of a song or a direction of a song or a tempo or a feel or a vibe and extending on it. And I said, that's a great idea. So that way I'm not trying to experiment with anything. I'm not trying to reinvent myself. It was a great way to kind of pay homage to the things that I have done and things I have released in my life. This time around, Alessandro said, I want to do the same thing we did with Wide Awake, but I want to actually concentrate more on one band that doesn't exist anymore in your life. That was very important to him. It was very important to me in my career. And that was very important to a lot of people that follow me all these years. And that was the band Talisman. Talisman is not together anymore in terms of recording the music, etc., because obviously we lost the founding member, Marcel Jacob, back in 2009. And Alessandro loves that music so much. He's very influenced by that music. So he said, I want to concentrate on making more of a Talisman kind of feel and vibe album this time around. And I said, go for it, because Talisman is one of those musical things that's kind of missing in my career in every aspect. And I was excited about kind of visiting that ideal.
Amazing, amazing, Jeff. And what would be the plans on the day of the release on May 6th?
Well, my plans are, I'm going to probably wake up with a really nasty hangover, because here in the US we celebrate something called Cinco de Mayo, and there's always a lot of tequila pouring. So May 6th, I'm going to wake up the next morning going, oh, wow, my album's released. I'm going back to bed.
Interesting, Jeff. Interesting. And how is the touring plans look for you this year?
Well, I'm not really touring anymore as a solo artist, unless, and this is something that kind of came from the whole pandemic and lockdown, that I realized, I'm going to be 57 this year. I'm not really into going out and touring little places and traveling in kind of uncomfortable conditions and playing to small amount of people around the world. I really need to start concentrating on more the quality more so than the quantity. And I really am not interested anymore in leaving my home unless there's a reason to leave it. And I don't want that to come across the wrong way. Of course, I love my fans, and I'm very grateful for the life that I've been able to live, and the fact that I'm able to still record and tour at this point of my life. I'm going on 4 decades of a career.
Yeah.
But the old concept of album tour, it really only works for the bigger bands. It really only works for the bigger artists who are able to do it in a way that actually makes financial sense and career sense. Going out and playing in front of 80 people is not gonna help me sell any more albums than I normally would sell if I just stayed at home. So unless there's a real demand for a big show or a big tour, I'm really only going to be taking those offers and not really doing much touring anymore in terms of actual tours. Of course, I'll always be doing appearances. I'll always be doing shows. I'm doing shows this weekend. I'm doing shows pretty much throughout the year. But the actual tours themselves, they have to be of a certain level and size for me to get out of bed anymore for them.
Gotcha, Jeff. And you have put 2 amazing videos, Last to Know and Love is the Revolution. And talking about Love is the Revolution, the opening stars and the ending of stars was totally brilliant and amazing way you have put it in this song. So can you tell me a bit about the making of this video, Jeff?
Well, all the videos I do, the last few videos I've been doing for the past few years in solo albums, I've been working with a dear friend of mine in Brazil. He's a great filmmaker, and he never came into the scene trying to be a musical director or a music director or a video guy. He's a great filmmaker. And from that, because he's a good friend, he said to me a long time, he goes, man, a lot of your videos, they look as low as the budgets are. And he knows that the budgets are not what they used to be. He knows the budgets for these videos are not something that normally can give you a high quality level of video. So he said, as a friend, as a favor, I want to give you a better landscape, a better cinematic look and feel to your videos, because I feel it's so important that people are going to judge you based on how they see you. Of course, they're going to judge you how they hear you, but they're also going to judge you how they see you. If it looks cheap, you're going to look like a budget discount artist. And he says, I don't want you to look like that anymore. So since then, he's been making me these great videos. A lot of these subjects may not look like they fit the videos as far as the themes or the lyrics, but he finds ways of kind of taking you another direction of what those lyrics might mean. And I write as a writer, as a songwriter, I write my lyrics pretty much all the time in double entendre. You might think I'm writing about one subject, but it's actually about something else.
Mhm.
Well, Tiago, he took it to yet another level where he makes like a third meaning out of what I actually expected out of those lyrics. So you might watch a video, go, I don't see how this ties in. But if you discuss with him what he means by certain scenes and certain visuals, it all ties in, and I think it's fantastic.
Amazing, amazing, Jeff. And Jeff, you have a decades of musical awesomeness. Started in 1983, and your legendary vocals and the amount of bands you worked with and projects you worked with is totally amazing. So, how has the journey on this musical industry has been for you so far?
Well, it's I can't say that I've reached my goals. I can't say that I've hit every mark that I aimed for when I was getting into this. I always had a goal and an ambition, a level of where I wanted to be at particular ages and particular parts of my life and my career. Early on, I met all of those. I said I want to be in a signed band and touring the world by the time I was 18. I did that. I would with Yngwie Malmsteen. I said I want to have a gold record by the time I'm 21. I did that with Yngwie Malmsteen. You know, all the things that I set forward, I got, except for the household name part. I never got to the point of my career in life that I could actually fill an arena or a stadium with my music, with the things that I created with a band or otherwise. Of course, I've done them with other bands, with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, with Journey. I've done so many big things, so many big shows and events, but these were for other people's careers and other people's music. My goal has always been to be able to get to that level with my music and under my terms. And that's one thing that, you know, I would love if that had happened. I'm sure at this age and this stage of my life, it seems a little unlikely that it still will happen. But then you think about somebody like Tony Bennett, you know, he
Yeah.
was basically the last one standing of that whole era, of that whole style of music, in terms of the Rat Pack and all those, you know, the Sinatras and Dean Martin, all those that came before him. But because he was the surviving one, that's when he became more of a household name. The world knew who Tony Bennett was pretty much in his 60s. So maybe, you never know.
Amazing, amazing, Jeff. And Jeff, are you also working on any other projects from this particular year in 2022?
Oh God, yes. And constantly working on other things. Some things I can talk about, some things it's too early, the infancy stages, but I'm always working on the next level, the next plan. It's and I have to, you know, I realize, as I just said, I'm not going to be a household name with just my solo stuff. I'm not even going to be able to make a good living with just my solo stuff. So of course I have to add other things in my life, both musically and even financially. But for the most part, because it's music, I don't look at it as work. I don't look at it as cheapening myself or unnecessarily
Mhm.
extending myself. To me, this is all part of the course. This is all part of everything that I've always wanted to do. And part of that is be able to do the music that I want to do with the people that I want to do it with.
Amazing, amazing, Jeff. And Jeff, I know there has been a lot of great moments that has been happened to you in the last 4 decades. But is there anything particular that you want to share with me today?
You know what? It's so easy to go back at old interviews or just even look at my social media and look at the things that I've done, the things that I've achieved. There's not any one thing that stands out, because it's basically one. It's kind of like a puzzle. You have a thousand pieces to make one puzzle, and you have to put all those pieces together to get that final finished product. And that's the best way to actually look at my career. I've got 1,000 loose pieces all over the place. But once you put it together, that's when you get to see the big picture.
Amazing, amazing. And Jeff, finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans around the world?
It's the same message that I've been saying for the past 37 years. It's the fact that I'm so grateful and so humbled that there's still people in the world that want to hear what I'm doing, still interested in me doing new music, as well as wanting to hear the old music. And that is a dream for any artist. It's something we strive for. It's something we dream about. And the fact that that dream has become a reality for me, I can't thank the fans and the people that follow me and still follow me around the world enough. There are no words to say thank you for this. So in fact, there's a new song uncomplicated called Thank You. And that's directly written for the fans. It's written for everybody that's been there from the beginning, everybody that's jumped on the train in between. It's for everybody that has supported me. It's basically my personal thank you for the fans.
Amazing, amazing, Jeff. And Jeff, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this opportunity to have you on Metalheads Forever magazine. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. And thanks for coming up with an amazing album, Complicated, this year. And thanks for the music that you've been giving us over the decades. It's a great pleasure again, Jeff. And thanks again for this opportunity today.
Well, thank you. I have to thank you and others like you who are giving me the opportunity to spread the word and spread the music. It's if I'm recording music and nobody hears it and and nobody sees it, it's because it's not getting out there. And people like yourself help me get it out there. So I thank you for that opportunity just the same.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care of yourself and have a good day out there.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.